keep an eye on the screen. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start recording. And at the end of our recording, or our webinar today, we will be sending this recording out to you within at least the next 24 hours. So that way you can go back and take a look over anything that we were addressing today. I did not, I'm the worst presenter ever. I did not even say who I am, but hi, my name is Emily Bowen. I am our Senior Project Manager and Customer Liaison. I'm also our main trainer, so you'll probably talk to me or have talked to me at some point in time. I have my wonderful right-hand gal with me, Allison James.
Hello, hello.
And she's going to help me with some questions and also give you a little bit more information about images. So keep an eye out. Okay, so to get started, we're going to go ahead and start with a poll question. And our first poll, or our only poll, I should say, is you're going to want to go ahead and take a look at your screen. What areas or topics are you most interested in learning about today? So hopefully a poll should have shown up for you. And we're going to ask you to take a look at your screen and start marking some options.
Yeah, we're putting you to work right away.
Exactly. I'm trying to grab you right at the beginning because at the end, anything goes.
You know, just by the title Website 201, there is just so much to cover to take you guys to the next level. So it's really helpful for us to get an idea of what most interests you. So this is good.
Exactly. And
almost everyone has voted.
I know, almost everybody. We're going to close it. So thank you guys. Looking good. Oh man, look at that. But a lot of people are interested about images and CVCRM.
Did you click share results? I don't think they've seen one.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. So looks like you guys are really interested in images and web forms and CVCRM. Excellent. Okay, well that's good. Let's go ahead, hide results. Are we back on my screen?
We are.
Okay, well then that's good. Okay, so if you have attended our Website 101 webinar, which we hope you guys all have, we went through 10 tips in Website 101. Well, we're only going over 7 tips in 201 because we want to take a little bit more time to go over these items for you because these are kind of areas or topics that we see questions about most often just from you guys, whether it be, as we mentioned earlier, menus or images or CVCRM, we want to make sure that you have a few more tips and, a little bit more information under your belt. And also, as we mentioned, we would like to get your feedback as well on other topics or questions or, areas of interest. So that way in the future, we can have, really great webinars for you and, make sure that we're covering a wide variety of topics. Okay, so our first tip, oh my goodness. Our first tip is what comes first, the page or the menu? And I should have also prefaced that you're going to see some really fun titles to our tips today as I pulled our one each staff to create some fun titles. So keep an eye on that. So we get a lot of questions about, what should we do first? Should we be creating a page or should we be creating the menu item? And really the best way to go about it is to add the page first. And as you're adding the page, there is a little area on that editing view for your page to add that item to the main menu. So technically, you can add the page and the main menu item at the same time. One doesn't have to go first and then the next one. You can do it at the same time. Now, you can always update menu links. So if you've already created a link in your main menu, you can go back and update that. That's not a problem. And you can also always add links or pages to the main menu after you've created a page. That's not a problem as well. We'll go over that a little bit. But definitely, as you're going through, it really is easier to add the page and then go ahead and while you're in that editing view, make sure that you're adding it to the main menu. And we are also going to go over advisory titles. Now, if you were in the Website 101, you also heard us extol the virtues of advisory titles for links, images, menu titles, anything like that, because it will help screen readers or screen reading programs, I should say, for accessibility. So that way If you have any visually impaired visitors to your website that might be using a screen reading program, they are able to read what the title of an image is, or the title of your menu link, or that kind of thing. So you're really going to help increase the accessibility of your website by using advisory titles. So we'll go over that too, I promise. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you how to use the main menu shortcut for some quick access to your main menu should you need to. So first off, hopefully, most of you should hopefully know how to create a new page, but we're going to go over that really quickly. Once you are logged into your site, you'll have access to the black admin menu at the top of the screen. And if you scroll over the word content, you'll see that add content and some other options pop up over here for you. If you scroll over add content, you should see an option for basic page or page. And please note that the directions that I'm doing could also correspond to a blog item or an image gallery if you wanted to add it to the main menu. So I'm just going to show you how to create a new basic page really quickly and add it to the menu. So if I'm just going to say this is, let's be test page. I know, very creative today. And you can put content in the body. I'm not really going to do anything right now with that. But down here towards the bottom of the page, no matter what content type you're creating, if it's a blog item, if it's an image gallery, that kind of thing, if you would like it in the main menu, there is an option for menu settings. It's always the first tab here in the little blue links option down in the left corner of your editing view. If you click the provide a menu link option, it should automatically pull the menu link title from your page. So if you named your page test page, this should automatically say test page. Now, if I had, a really long title that has, 10, 11 words in it, and I don't want a menu link that has, or a menu title that has 10 or 11 words, I can always shorten the link title down here, and it does not change the name of the page or the title of the page. It just shortens the title of the link on the menu. Underneath the menu link title area, there's an option for a parent item. This is where you can add it to the main menu directly if you want it to appear with the rest of those kind of parent or main menu items. It'll sit directly on the main menu, leave it at main menu. But you also have the ability to put it somewhere in your main menu. So if you wanted to link it under About Us, then you could go ahead and choose About Us, and it becomes a drop down underneath About Us in your main menu. And you will be able to see, you'll see some of these items are indented. So you'll see that Board of Directors drops down under About Us. Well, if I want this page to appear under Board of Directors, that's also going to drop down under About Us. So let's go ahead and do that. So that way it's a drop down of a drop down, and you can totally do that. So you can kind of pick and choose where in your main menu you want this to appear right off the bat. So as you're creating these pages, it's kind of a nice, easy shortcut. You can create the menu link at the very same time. You don't need to really worry about the weight here, just because it's really difficult to remember the number associated with each item, and you definitely just don't even bother with weight. It's going to be easier to rearrange these links by dragging and dropping them, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second as well. So forget that the weight exists. But down in title, this is where you can add in an advisory title. So when somebody scrolls over this, it will pop up like a little banner, and you can put anything you want in here. Now you could put in test page, but you could also put more than that. So it could be test page, new menu item are the best. You can put in a little bit of extra information. So if this was, and a special event, then you could also have it be a special event from a specific date, or you could, list more information in here. Now, this is what is going to be available for screen readers to pull. So they can, and also when people scroll over that menu item, they will also see a little banner that pops up and they'll say, test page, new menu items are the best. So highly suggest that you use an advisory title. It is not required, but it is very useful for accessibility for 508 and ADA compliance. So think about accessibility, think about making sure that you want any visitor to be able to come to your site and find your content or find your resources. So we are going to only use title. You can forget that ID, name, relationship, classes, and style exist. Those are not helpful in this context whatsoever. Don't worry about it. Target is really not going to be useful for most of on this one. You do have the ability to set this to open in a new window. So if somebody were to click on this menu link, it would open in a new browser tab or a new browser window. However, if this is a page that's already on your site, it's really not useful to direct them, out in another browser tab or browser window because you're still on your site. So we don't really suggest that you open links out in a new window or in a new browser tab unless you are linking off of your website or if you're linking to a file. So if somebody is clicking on a hyperlink to open up like a PDF, you want to then open that file in a new window. But other than that, you really shouldn't need to use Target, but you do have the ability to open this in a new window if you ever need to. You don't need to use the access key. So again, in this menu area, you're going to go ahead and update your menu link title if you need to. Set where the menu item should appear here in the menu. So in this case, it's going to drop down under Board of Directors. And then I'm also putting in a little advisory title. So that way when somebody scrolls over the menu link, it will pop up a little banner. And then I'm not going to have this open in a new window. I'm just going to go ahead and save this page. Now, by saving this page, I've created the page. Now I can always come back and edit it at any time if I need to. And then additionally, when I scroll over About Us and Board of Directors, hopefully I see test page, which is exactly what we want. And that's where we added it. Now I can come back into the editing view and always change where this appears. So I can always come in here and say, nope, I didn't want it under Board of Directors. I want it under About Us. I changed my mind. So you can just change the parent menu and go ahead and save. So you can make a quick little adjustment in the editing view if you want to. So that way you can say, oh, this is where I wanted it to be in the first place. Now, if I want test page to be maybe underneath Board of Directors and in between Board of Directors and Financial Accountability, what I can do is I can use the main menu shortcut to actually access your main menu and drag and drop the items in the order that they want them to appear. So everybody on your main menu, when you are logged in, when you scroll over the right side of the menu, you should see an editing gear that pops up. If that edit, it'll be like a little gray editing gear. If you click on that editing gear, you should have the option for list links. Now, if you do not see an editing gear and you are logged into your site, go ahead and you're going to want to submit a support conversation. Now, some of you might see the editing gear, but when you go to click it, it disappears, which is one of the most annoying things in the world. If that ever happens to you and you can't edit the menu by getting that editing gear to pop up, when you're logged into your site, there should be a link in the black admin menu that might say help. It might say support. It might also say, oh, we support. But if you click on it, it'll take you to our support site, which is support.1h.com. Here you're going to start a conversation, and we'll go over the support site a little bit later, but you're going to want to start a support conversation and have our team go ahead and edit the site so that way you do have the ability to use this editing gear because it will be so useful. You always have a back way into your site, but it's so much or into the main menu, I should say, but this is the easiest way to go ahead and manage the links. So once we click on that editing gear, we're going to choose list links. And that will take you to a list of all of your main menu links. Here you can add a link. So you can always add a link from this page. But as I said, it's actually easier to create that page and then add the link right as you're creating the page. So that way you don't have to, create a page and then come into your main menu and add a link. Or go into your main menu, add a link, and then create the page and then come back and edit your main menu. That is what we see a lot of people do. You want to, use your time wisely. So go ahead and start creating those pages and add them directly to your main menu. But once you've added them to your main menu, maybe you want to move them around. And that's where this page comes in handy. You'll notice, again, you'll have a listing of all of your main menu links here. If you see some of them are indented underneath the others, that is where you'll see the drop-down items. So you'll see test page, which we just added. If I want to move this up in between board of directors and financial accountability, all I have to do is click on that 4-pointed arrow that's to the left of the name or the title and just drag it on up. And so I can drag these items in order, in any order that I want. I also have the ability to create drop-down. So if I think that sample should be a drop-down under test page, then I'm going to click on the 4-pointed arrow next to sample, drag it up under test page, and then drag it to the right under test page. So that way it's indented, so you'll see this drops down under this guy, and then test page is still going to be listed under About Us. Now, if I wanted to move test page, it's automatically going to drag sample with it, so that way I don't have to drag each item individually. So hopefully that should save you some time, but I can rearrange any of my main menu links here. It's very easy to do. You also have the ability to enable or disable menu links over here on the right side of the page. If you disable a menu link, it's like unpublishing it. You can always enable it again by just clicking that checkbox and then saving your work, and it'll go ahead and add it back to the menu. If you delete a menu link off of the main menu, it does not delete the page associated with the link, just deletes the link off of the menu, which is nice. You also have the ability to edit any of the links here as well. You can change the title, the page that they go to, as well as some of the other items like add an advisory title. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But let's go ahead and save our work here so that way we can double check that everything looks good. So now that I've moved test page up and sample up, I'm going to save my configuration at the bottom of the screen. Once you've edited the main menu, it generally puts you back out on your page view, and then you can check your work. So you'll see test page, and now sample drops down under test page, which is exactly what we wanted. Now you'll also notice that when I hover over test page, a little banner that pops up that says test page, new menu items are the best. Now, if I want to do that for sample, I can go in and either go to the sample page and edit that in the editing view of the sample page, or I can also edit that back in my main menu. So if I click on the editing gear and go back to the list links page, I can find the sample item, and then I'm going to scroll over to the right and click the edit button that's associated with the sample. I could always change the title if I want to. The path is just the page name. In this case, you'll see that it says node 80. A node is just an item on your site, so it's any item. AKA, the sample page was the 80th item that was added to this site. You never have to remember that. You only have to remember the page name. So the page name is anything that appears after the first / in a page, so, or in the URL. So at the very top, in your URL address, the page you're on will be what appears after that first /. So in this case, if you have events calendar, the page for this is calendar. That is all you have to actually grab for that node, or to kind of change a link, I should say. You don't have to remember the node. The site already changes that for you, so you just have to put in the page name. So you would just put in calendar here if you wanted to link calendar instead of sample. So feel free to change out the link title, the path or the page name that it goes to. You also have the ability to change the parent link here, but truthfully, it's much easier to drag and drop it in the right order on that list links page. So I wouldn't suggest using that too much. Again, forget that weight exists on this page. It is so much easier to drag them and drop them in the right order. And then under menu item attributes, this title is where you can enter in that advisory title. For this sample page, I can say sample page. Okay, so that is just a quick little title. Again, I don't need to do anything with ID, name, relationship, class, style. No one cares about that. That is just the same information that you would have seen on the page view. You're going to forget that all of that exists. If this were a page that I was linking to off of my website, I might want to change the target to a new window. But again, I don't need to do that since it is the same, a page on my site. So I'm going to go ahead and save. We just changed that advisory title. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to go ahead and check my work. And you are able to access the main menu on any page of your site. It's not just the home page. You'll be able to access that shortcut on any page. So when I hover over test page, I still see that advisory title. When I hover over sample, now I also have an advisory title. So go in, think about your main menu items, think about how are they titled? How many main menu items do you have? Do you have pages that are linked under, several different menu items? Do you have, duplicate items in your main menu? This is going to be, a good refresher for you as you start to learn more about editing and, adding advisory titles to the menu items. This is a really good chance for you to kind of do some spring cleaning and decide, of the general flow of your main menu. Okay. Any other fun stuff about menu that I might have forgot, Allison?
No, and we haven't been getting questions. So yeah, let's keep going.
Okay. So again, that was tip number 1. What comes first, the page or the menu? And the answer is both. Okay. Number 2, images. Size counts. This is going to be a very important one for you guys. This is a good tip. And Allison's going to take it over in just a second, but we really want you to think about the size of your image file, not necessarily the dimensions of the image, but the file size. So let's go ahead. Do you want me to change the presenter over to you, Allison, or do you want me to do a little bit?
No, you can flip it over to me. That's fine.
We're going to go ahead and have Allison show you a little bit more about images. Since we get a lot of questions about, how do I resize images? How do I do,
Okay, so it hasn't come to my screen yet. Hold on. Where am I? I can do it. Make presenter. All right, everyone. So definitely some things to know about on images and screen size, and I'm going to show you a trick. Do I see my screen okay, Emily? I have Pixlr up.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so here's what we hear a lot of times, and here's a challenge for everyone. First off is, I want a good picture on my site. What kind of picture should I have? Obviously, it is great if you have great local pictures. That's always really helpful, but the truth of the matter is they have to be good quality pictures. On a website, a picture only needs to be what's known as 72 DPI versus if you ever send in print materials, they'll ask for 300 DPI. And if that's terminology you're not used to, basically when they go to print, they need a higher pixel resolution than you do on a website. If you're using those really large pictures that you've had a great photographer take pictures and they're these 20 megabyte file sizes, they're going to slow your website down. Why will somebody decide not to stay on your website? Your website's taking too long to open. If your website's taking too long to open, they're going to leave. If they go to your website and your pictures are stretchy and look terrible and don't fit right, they're going to leave. So pictures are really important. So one is, don't have the file size be so gigantic. 2 is, have images be the right size. And by that I mean, in some cases, like on a page on a rotating window, you have to have a picture be an exact dimension. And so I've pulled up our support site. I probably should take this back a level when you're in support. If you're in one of the newer themes, and I know not everyone on this call is, out there throughout, there is a place where you can find out what sized images you need for things like rotor windows or menu links or your promo banners. If you don't know the size for your theme, submit a support ticket and ask them, what are the exact dimensions I need for those images? Now, an image on a page, it doesn't really matter, but images within the rotors and some of those very specific boxes, the size does matter. So I do want to show you how to size pictures. If you have Photoshop, great. Use something like Photoshop. I hear people using Paint. I've heard that's a little more difficult to use, but if you love it and you're good with it, that's fine. I'm going to show you a free tool that's out on the internet that I've been using for years, and it's not cost me a dime, and it's basically a free version of Photoshop. So this is my tip for you for the day. Pixlr.com, Pixlr.com. Free, free. Hear that? You're going to have ads pop up, who cares? When you scroll down the home page, you have the Pixlr editor, and you launch the editor window, and you're into a version of Photoshop. So then you can upload your image and blah, blah, blah. So I've already got a picture uploaded. I kind of had it pre-prepped to keep this thing moving. So I went ahead and picked a picture and I uploaded it. Let's just say my rotor is 2,000 pixels wide by 600 pixels tall. Well, and I don't know if you can see these itty bitty numbers on the bottom. This picture is 2,300 pixels wide by 1,350 pixels tall. 600 pixels tall can be a little bit challenging for people. And sometimes you really have to find the right image too, because it won't crop well. Obviously, I can't take a tall image and make it work for a rotor. Or I have to get graphically creative and create a box next to it and put words in and line something up. So get some graphic help if you need that. But I will show you, anyone with your average computer skills, you can open an image in here, and I'm going to do a quick resize to 2000 by 600. So I'm going to take the image and I'm going to change the image size to 2000 pixels wide. I think I am. 2000. Well, I still think I am. Why am I not typing? Hold on. I did it a second ago. Image size. Okay, here we go. 2000. Not letting me type in my box. I'd rather type it than do it this way, but let's see if I can get this to let me type.
And this is where everybody else gets to see that we are just like everyone else and that we have fun issues with technology.
Okay, well, I almost said it. I usually can type in the box, and it's probably because I was messing with it earlier. So now it's 2000 pixels wide, but it's still not the right height. So I'm going to change its canvas size, and this is a trick that what this is doing, instead of taking the image size to 600, I'm taking the canvas size to 600. And the reason is because if I do the image size, I'm going to have it stretchy, and you don't want your picture to be stretchy. So sometimes you have to crop or add space, and you'll get the idea here, even if I don't hit the right number. Oh, I almost had it. There we go. Okay. Okay. So then it cropped off some top and bottom, and there's an image. It's the exact dimensions that I need. Now, if I'm in a tool like this, I could, if I wanted to, type in AdWords on the screen or do something along those lines that is more editing wise. I'm not going to mess with all of that, but I do want you guys to be very aware of, you have exact dimension sizes for some of those rotors and for some of those promo banners. Find out what your dimensions are. Submit a ticket if you don't know. We will tell you what the dimensions are, and get a tool to help you edit them. This is free out there. I use it all the time. It is super helpful. And I think when Emily goes back and she's on a page, why don't you put a picture on a page on a website and just show them, not like the rotor, but just on a page on padding and aligning right and left. So that's what I had to show you guys. Has there been any questions on this?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, keep going. Yours then. I'm going to throw it back at you.
Okay, feel free to throw it on back. Okay.
Okay, I see.
Hopefully.
Here we go. You're back.
Woohoo! Okay, so now we're back in business. So as Allison was mentioning a little bit earlier, when you're adding an image to a page, the dimensions aren't as important as if maybe it was like a rotor image on the home page. You have the ability to change the dimensions of the image once it's added to the page. So in the editing view of any page, I just happen to have an image on this page. If you already have an image on the page, you can go ahead and click on the image, and you can either right click and you'll usually see an option for image properties, or if you've clicked on the image in your formatting toolbar that appears right above the body area, there is a little icon that will, when you scroll over, it should say image. It kind of looks like a little postcard. At least to me, it looks like a little postcard. So when you click on that, that is the same image properties box. So either you can right click the image or you can click the image and then choose the image icon from the formatting toolbar. But once you've added the image to the page, you should see a few things. You'll see a URL for the image. Don't be surprised. That is actually the location of this image within your file browser. Additionally, you'll also see the width and the height that this image is on the page. Now, when this image was added to the site or added to my file browser, you'll see that it was 1200 by 514. Maybe you don't want it to be 1200 by 514 on the page. I have the ability to change that. So I can change this to be 600. And if I have the little icon over here, if that is locked, then it will automatically adjust the height with the width. So that way, if I need to, kind of have it stay in the same ratio, I can definitely do that. Now, we suggest to make sure that your images are responsive on every screen. Once you found the perfect kind of width for this image, go ahead, click that lock icon, and it'll unlock and then remove the height. Now, if you're adding an image to a page that is wider than 250 pixels, and again, the image is wider than 250, not the page. So if that image is wider than 250, you are going to want to unlock the ratio and remove the height. So that way, this image will stay responsive across all screen sizes, not just a large desktop monitor, but also like maybe on a tablet screen or in a mobile view as well. So now that I've made the image responsive on the page, don't worry about the preview. Over here, the preview will always look weird. It'll usually look fine on the actual editing page and on the page view, so pay no mind to how weird the preview looks. You have the ability to add a little border around the image if you want to. You can also add horizontal space and vertical space. So if you have, another image or even content or text that wraps around the image, you might want to add in maybe 10 pixels of horizontal space. And that creates a little kind of buffer or like a little padding in between the image and any text or anything that you're adding next to this image. You also have the ability to add vertical space if you want to as well. And the number that you add in here is pixel space. So maybe you only want 5 pixels or you want 7 pixels. You can add in or adjust this at any time. Additionally, the last little thing on this page or on this little tab is the alignment down here. If the alignment is not set, that means that this image will respond to the alignment tools that are in the formatting toolbar. You'll always have the ability to left align, center, or right align an item. If you select the alignment to be left or right here, then if you select it to the left, that means that any text is actually going to wrap around it on the right side. Or similarly, if you have this set to the right side, it's going to force that image, no matter what, to the right side of the page, and then the text will wrap around it on the left. So you can automatically make this image sticky on one side of the page or the other. But if you do mark the image either as left or right aligned here, it will kind of overrule or does not respond to the alignment icons or tools that are already here. So if you ever notice that you have an image that's stuck on the left or the right side of the page, and if you want it centered and you can't center it, go into the image properties and just double check to see if it's either left or right aligned. And then last but not least, we're going to direct you to the advanced tab right here. So on your image info, you'll see link. You'll also see advanced. Again, advisory title, guys. We highly suggest that you put a title for this image. So this might be, volunteers at our, summer event or something like that. Pop in a title so that way screen readers can read it. Also, when the regular visitor just scrolls over it, again, that little banner will pop up so you can put in additional information. If this was like a board photo of like a group photo for a board, then you could put in the board members, from left to right or anything else like that. So again, use the advisory title. It is a really great tool for you, not only for images, but also for links and menu titles. So again, as Allison mentioned, it's very important to think about the dimensions of your image, as well as the total file size of your image, and then also how that image is going to be displayed on a page as well. Okay, so that was images size counts. Our next tip is going to be secure areas. Can't touch this content. Again, I told you, really bad titles, guys. Anyhow, we have a lot of questions about secure areas. How do you get them set up? What are they? Each of your sites has an automatic 3 secured areas that can be set up. Now, some of your sites might not have any secure areas at all. And I'll show you how to find out if you do have secure areas. Now, if you don't have secure areas, that is just a quick support conversation. You just have to submit a support conversation and let us know what secure areas that you would like to create. And then once our team creates that content type for you, you can treat that content type like a regular basic page. Basically what we do is we limit who can see that content type. So regular site visitors don't have the ability to see that content. Now, secure areas can always be renamed or repurposed. So if you have secure areas from years ago that you're not using, just have our team rename them for you. And now there's no time like the present to kind of get started on that. We see secure areas being used for a lot of different, topics or, ideas. We see a lot of board materials listed there, but also like staff materials for forms and such. You can also use this for grant reviews, or funding reviews, I should say, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of options for your use for secure areas. So maybe now's a great time to go paperless and, save a tree, put everything on the internet, allow you to have your, board members log into your site, view past board minutes, view any other information, or, volunteers, anything else like that. So, again, feel free to use any of your current secure areas or repurpose the secure areas you have. Additionally, secure area users are only managed or created by our OneEach support team. So that means that our team is going to want to know for each secure area if you would rather have one general user or if you would rather have individual or multiple users for that secure area. And again, keep in mind that the secure area users don't have the ability to change their username or their password. That's something that only our team can do for you. So sometimes, depending upon the use of your area, of the secure area, it might be better to have one general user, but it might also be that you might need individual users. But again, that's something that our team will ask you. And keep in mind as you go through and you're using secure areas, think about the users that you're going to need to create. So, okay, to show you just really quickly about our secure areas. So, really quickly, if you're like, how do I know if I have a secure area? Well, when you scroll over content and add content in your admin menu, you might see a content type listed for secure area, or it might say secure page, that kind of thing. And you might see 2, you might see 1, you might see 3 different content types listed here. These are most likely going to always be listed under content, add content, and you'll be able to see these items listed here. Now, when you go to create one of these guys, it's going to be exactly like a regular basic page on your site. You can, put in links and images, and you can also put these items in the main menu. And you're like, I know I want these secure. Why am I putting them in the main menu? Because these secure links are actually going to be hidden to a regular visitor, and they're only going to show up when somebody with the right user permissions has the ability to log into the site. And I'll show you what that looks like. So again, if you're not quite sure if you have secure areas, scroll over content, add content, and go ahead and take a look. You might see that you have 1 or 2 secure area content types already set up. You can also, of course, search your list of content by clicking the word content. And then from the content type drop down over here, you might be able to see, if you have secure area content types already set up. Okay, so what does a secure area look like when I sign in? So I'm going to show you really quickly. So any secure area user will use the same login that you guys use as a user. And the only reason why I mentioned that, we get a lot of questions about that, this user page actually will filter out all of the users by permission. So if I log in here and prove that I am indeed not a robot, and the site believes me today, then we set up a redirect. So as soon as I log in with a board user, I'm immediately redirected to a landing page with information for me to find. You'll also notice that now there is a board page link over here with some drop downs, and there's also a logout link. I'm logged into the site right now, but you can't tell because I won't have access to the black admin menu. I can't edit pages. I can't change any information here. And that's exactly what secure area users should be. They shouldn't have the ability to change anything. You really only want them there to be able to see maybe a few extra pages. Now, again, on this board page, this is a landing page for maybe information. I can click on minutes, and that takes me to a secure page for minutes information. And we highly suggest that you have little hidden secure area landing pages over here in the main menu, so that way people who have logged in with these users have an easy way to remember what page they should be on or find other pages. And of course, if I'm logged out of the site, I'm not going to see these board page links. I'm not going to be able to access these pages. These will be hidden away from regular visitors. So, having secure areas really allows you to kind of have like a regular visitor, but kind of give them just a little bit extra permission so that they can see a few extra pages of content. Now, we also get a lot of questions about, in a secure area, how many pages can I have? You can have as many as you want. Just like regular basic pages, you can have 50 board pages if you wanted. But again, it's all content that you guys will have to manage. So keep an eye on that. Okay, so how are we doing? I know we're getting close. Okay.
Yeah, you got to keep it moving. We got some time issues going on.
We're good. We got this. Okay, so we get a lot of questions. Tip number 4, back to CVCRM basics. First off, let's pronounce CVCRM. That's a really weird word. We understand, guys. We hear a lot of, we're like, oh, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. You don't want to know how I pronounced it when I first got here. Not great. CVCRM is where you create and manage event and contribution pages. You also have the ability to pull custom reports for your events and your contribution pages, which is very important. We have really great webinars coming up about event registration. I know we have some coming up in March. We also have previous webinars listed on our support site for you to watch. And if you have cool events or cool contributions that you want to set up, maybe reach out to Allison or I, or send in a support conversation to have our team help you, with styling, and let us know if you have anything that's, cool that's happening, because we love to help you out with, some little styling items and make sure that everything looks good. But CVCRM can be a little bit of an extra training, and so we understand that. So some helpful tips for CVCRM. Number 1, always make sure your profile fields are searchable. Always. There's no doubt about that. Just do it. Number 2, always make sure that you're capturing at least the first and last name and email address. If you are, if you have a donation page or an event page out there, CVCRM will capture a contact, or they will associate a contact with a name and an email address. So each email address is a unique contact within your CRM. So again, you are always going to want to try and capture a name and an email address. And additionally, you'll notice that your CVCRM pages have really weird long URLs. You have the ability to have our team shorten those URLs. I think we had a customer call them vanity URLs, which like vanity plates for your car, which I love, which I thought was hilarious. So if you want your donation page to be /donate, please make sure that it is. Some of your sites might already have /donate set up, but if you don't, that's again a quick support conversation that you will want to make sure is taken care of. So your events in CVCRM, your events should automatically populate your monthly calendar. If there's an area on your homepage, it might also populate there. Additionally, most of you will be using CVCRM for donation pages. Now, we hear a lot of questions about donation pages. Can we switch out the background image? Do we have the ability to style things a little bit differently? And the answer is yes. We have the ability to switch out that background image for you on any page, not just on contribution pages, but also on event pages. That image does need to be 2,000 pixels wide by 1,000 pixels tall. But as long as you have an image that's 2,000 pixels wide by 1,000 pixels tall, we can switch out the background for you. So you will, again, want to submit a support ticket or a support conversation for that. Now, if you are not using CVCRM for donations, then again, this would not be very helpful for you. But you want to make sure, let me go back page really quickly. When you are logged in, you can easily get to CVCRM by using the CVCRM icon up here in the black admin menu. If you don't see this icon, you can click the help icon and submit a support ticket. There might be a reason why you don't have access. Also, please note that only editors and admins have the ability to edit or create or manage any content in CVCRM. If you have a page editor user permission, you don't have any permissions for CVCRM. So again, please make sure that, maybe double check your permissions level or your user role. So if you aren't able to access that. But once you do click on CVCRM, really quickly, it'll take you to your dashboard. You can configure your dashboard with reports. Everybody's dashboard is unique to their user. From here, under contributions, you'll be able to manage your contribution pages. You're also able to edit or create new contribution pages here as well. Similarly, under events, you will always be able to create new events as well as manage any existing events. For events, you have the ability to create a very basic event that is just maybe a date and a time and maybe even a location, but you can also create very complicated or an advanced events where you're having payment and registration and all kinds of stuff. So you can start out small and definitely grow into this platform. And it is a very robust platform. You'll hear Allison and I talking about CVCRM all the time.
Hey, Emily.
Yes.
So just to piggyback on that a little bit with the CVCRM events and things as you guys are getting to do this is super important. This is in your best interest. This system will pull for you great reports. It'll give you a lot of information. It organizes it well. But we don't want you to suddenly get to your event and realize, oh no, something went wrong. Please, if you're setting up an event, have us take a look at your settings. There is the possibility to, if you're not having it, do its safeguard checks to make sure that if they're using, like a receptionist goes and uses the same email for everyone, that it's not replacing names and doing things like that. So there are things that can backfire on you if the settings are not correct. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that because that's just a reality. There are a lot of great settings in here that allow you to do neat things, but it can also backfire if you don't know how to set it up right. So please, 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 if you're going to use this, we want you to use it. Have our team review it and make sure all the settings are proper so that you don't lose any data in the process.
Exactly. And that's actually what I was going to just say as well. It's, make sure that you're having maybe somebody from our team take a look over anything if you're unsure, because we don't want you to lose any data, or we don't want you to have any scary moments where you're just frozen in fear because you can't pull a report of all of your information. So again, feel free to check anything with us. And, once you kind of it's like riding a bicycle. Once you, get used to it, it's going to be like second nature, but sometimes it's not always second nature right off the bat. So
one last thing before you close that. Oh, she closed already.
I closed it.
There's a search box up in that corner, and people don't realize that where that contact is. You can type in a name. You type in James, my last name. It will pull, automatically start pulling anyone with that name. So if you get someone calling your office and they've made a donation and they're like, I'm not sure it went through, I don't know if I did it right, and maybe you haven't gotten an email or you haven't checked, that search field is very, very helpful. So do know that you can search for people there. Okay, that's it.
Awesome. Yep, that's probably, we're also going to go over that in our event registration webinar. So again, Keep an eye out for other upcoming webinars about cool topics such as event registration. That's going to be coming up for you. Okay, so on really quickly to our next one, web forms. Web forms are wonderful. Web forms can be, again, similarly like events, they can be very simple, they can be very advanced. Some helpful web form tips for you. Make sure that your email address is set up, or that a current email address is set up for web form notification. So if you have a contact us web form out there, is anybody in your office receiving notifications anytime somebody submits into that form? If not, it's time to check. You have a lot of turnover that happens in offices, so we want to make sure that everything is up to date, so that way you guys are being notified. You don't want to have somebody try and contact you and then 2 months go by and you didn't even know. So again, we'll show you where to find that too. Also review the required fields in your web form. What information is necessary in this web form that you must have people fill out. And then last but not least, use conditionals. It allows you to make your form more interactive, can make it even easier, and kind of have a nice flow to it. So that way you can kind of pick and choose. So again, definitely with your web forms, make sure that you know where to find your web forms, which in your list of content, you can either search for web forms, or you'll notice when you hover over content that you see an option for web forms that appears in that drop down. Go ahead and click on web forms. This will take you to a list of all of the web forms. From here, you're able to edit or view any of the web forms. Now, as I mentioned earlier, how do you know where to find that email address? When you are logged into your site and you're on the web form, there's a web form tab. Go ahead and click the web form tab. And we're going to skip from form components over to the emails button right here. So click on email, and that takes you in here. Now, this is where you will see anybody that is set up to get the notification. So right now, we are sending an email back to the person who filled out this form. And then we are also setting up an email to send out to a specific person in a department. Now, this is really cool to do. So that way, when somebody selects a specific department that they want to connect with, they select support, then it will notify support. Or if they select volunteer, it'll notify volunteers. So there's some cool things that you can do with this to make sure that the correct person in your office is actually receiving the notifications from the forms. So again, make sure that you are updating that email, that everything is up to date, because if you are not receiving your submissions and your information, it's going to definitely be a pain for you. So additionally, as I said, you have some cool options for conditionals. You can have somebody select volunteer, and when they select volunteer, it pops open with I'm interested in volunteering. And if they say, yeah, I am interested in volunteering, then it's like, hey, what are your interests? And they're like, oh, man, I got some other interests. I can also select these. So you can kind of lead them wherever you need, so that way you can capture the information that's necessary. Now, again, if they say no, or maybe even a different option, then those options don't pop out. So again, use conditionals. It's a really great way for you to be able to have an interactive form that's not difficult for people to fill out and complete. Additionally, there's also options for you to be able to create surveys. You can create agency applications, which is a whole other webinar to get into. There's score sheets that you can do, so you can have a rating system. So again, web forms are going to be very helpful for you, and there is some more information out there on our support site about web forms. Okay, which brings us to our next one, which is the support site, which is perfect because as we are winding down, I cannot stress enough how important the support site is going to be for you guys. You have questions, we have answers. Our support site is always support.1h.com. Our support site is where you'll find helpful articles, tutorials, for you to watch or take a look at that are specific to your theme. We also have general topics out there. You can always start a conversation with a support team member, so that way if you have a question or an issue, you can always submit that information, and it's being received and answered and sent off to our team, or you know, anything. And our team is always happy to send you training, tutorials, and other information. So if you do search the support site and you can't find a topic or, you know, the correct information to maybe, you know, get you through the last couple of steps of what you're editing, submit a support conversation and ask our team. They might be able to direct you to the correct article or even give you the steps. When you're submitting a support conversation, make sure that you are including every important detail, whether it's the URL of a page, whether it's a screenshot, if an error message comes up. If you can take a screenshot of that error message, that'd be awesome. But if you can't take a screenshot of it, well, then try and, you know, copy the error message. So that way our team can be, you know, as detailed as possible, and there'll be less back and forth of, you know, have you done this, or what page are we talking about? We don't want you to have to go back and forth too many times, you know, to troubleshoot any issues. And then last but not least, create a support site account. It's not required for you to submit a support conversation to be logged into your support site account. But if you do have a support site account, it allows you to be able to review any previous submitted tickets or conversations, and I'm not even on our support site. And again, as I mentioned earlier, when you click on the black admin menu, the help icon in the black admin menu, that should take you out to our support site. And again, as Allison kind of showed you a little bit, you have the ability to search by keyword in here. There are also some really great topics here for you, whether it be general or specific to a theme. We also have some news options out here, but you'll want to sign in if you have a sign in. If you don't, then you can create an account. You can use the need an account, sign up. And just be aware that your support site account is different than your website user account. So again, make sure you remember your website account or user account is always going to be different than the user information for your support site account. You can also start a conversation. And again, that is just a link at the very top of the page. Choose your department. Most of you guys will be in the website department. And then from here, add in as much detail as possible. Again, if you have screenshots of issues or error messages or, you know, of your view, go ahead and upload those files. It's really important that you submit as many details as possible, again, for us to be able to help troubleshoot any items. Okay.
We are at time.
Yep.
Are you on the last one?
Which is what we always talk about at the very end of all of our webinars, aka site maintenance or training. So if you've gone through this webinar and you're like, that's really awesome, but I have absolutely no idea how to even get started. Well, then use your time wisely. If it's something that you know, you just don't have the time to do, or, you know, to learn, or, you know, to start, then you can always have our team, you know, to help you with that. We have maintenance plans that you can sign up for that are, you know, really manageable. And it might take us only, you know, 10 minutes to create something, and it might take you 2 hours. And that's not to discourage you. That's just to be like, this is what we do every day. So we're very well versed in that. So use your time wisely. You know, we are always happy to set up one-on-one training. You can always contact me. Let me know a couple of available date time options, and we can set something up. And we would do that through GoToMeeting. And then last but not least, to keep learning some cool new options or, you know, topics and all kinds of stuff, go ahead and sign up for upcoming webinars at oneH.com/classes. That will always be very helpful for you. And then last but not least, here's our information again. We just want to thank you for joining the Website 201 webinar. This is our very first one of the year. So we would like to know, you know, what topics you're interested in. I know that a lot of you have to go, but feel free to let us know in the questions box if there are any topics or questions or anything that you would like to, you know, see in an upcoming webinar, or anything that you might have left out today.
Thank you all very much. Nice job, Emily. So we are going to send the recording out to everyone, as well as the presentation deck. So keep that in mind. Any webinar we have, if it turns out you can't attend, we will still send you the recording and the presentation deck. So that will be coming your way. And we thank you guys for your time today. And good job, Miss Emily.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. And thank you so much, Allison, for backing me up.